Hi there, Stuart from the MX-5 Club, and I'm here with the Lotus Club at the Bend Motorsport Park for a track day on the June long weekend in 2022. We're lined up in pit lane, gridding up there, but there is a dummy grid area to the left now, being released onto the track and accelerating up here. Coming on, so on a flying lap, if there's cars entering the track, you need to be careful at that section that there's not a car coming on. Turning in here. This corner can creep up on you, and I should talk about this one later. So we're now accelerating down through turn 4. Up to turn 5, which some people refer to as the reverse hay shed. It's very similar to the corner at Phillip Island, except it goes left rather than right, so that's what they call it, reverse hay shed. We're now turning left onto the international circuit rather than straight ahead there was the west circuit. Now these are some lovely corners around here. So there's corners here where there's about 4 corners there where if you get it right, you hold the steering wheel in about the same position the whole way and just make it one long corner. Very, very rewarding and challenging at the same time. This is where the GT circuit comes back on there. Coming back up, and you can see that the tracks, there's quite a bit of variation in altitude. You know, it's going up and down quite a bit. There are quite a lot of blind corners. Here we can't see very far ahead until you really get to here. Then you can see there. Accelerating now down the back straight, and here you build up a lot of speed, as you can see. You know, with the standard MX-5 NB, I'm getting up to about 150 there, but back to a second gear corner at about 60 k's, quite a tight corner. And there's a few of these around at the track that can really catch you unawares effectively, or you get lulled into a false sense of security of the flowing track, and suddenly you're in the middle of a corner that is tightening and you've got too much speed. So it's an excellent track for that. You know, recommend taking it with a bit of caution until you get to know the track. Certainly down the main straight here. Initially I was braking about 150 metre mark, but after about 2 to 3 days of track time, I got it down to about the 100 metre mark. And yeah, you know, it's just build up to it is my recommendation. So we're going down to the reverse hay shed again. Here we go, and coming up, and you'll see here that the west circuit goes straight ahead and then to the right, where we're going left onto the international circuit. And here's the start of these flowing corners that I talked about. The first corner here, just clipping the inside. A lot of people stay much wider than that, which I struggle to grasp. But you can see there's only just slight adjustments to the steering wheel here, and it's just one long corner. This one tightens up at the exit, and when you've got a lot of speed on, just be cautious of the last one of those 4 or 5 corners. Back on left is where the international circuit, the GT circuit comes back on, or the east circuit crosses over and goes back the other way. This is a very blind corner here. You can't see where your exit is until you're there. Up here too, just back to this one where, yeah, and quite a few people spun on the day right here, and you could, if you look carefully, you can see a lot of black marks there. It's a It's a fast lead up to the corner. You're then braking hard, turning in. If you're braking a bit late and you're still braking while you turn, no weight on the rear wheels that can go. And also the track crests a bit and then drops away, so you're losing weight off the rear wheels there. It's a bit late in the day there for me. My one major mistake of the weekend. They're back on the track here, coming back onto the main straight. I'm in third, going up to fourth, accelerating hard. And what I talked about earlier about watching for the pit exit, going up to fifth now. I don't get to sixth gear here, but just be careful of cars coming out of pit lane because they see the line there. You should go to the right. So braking hard here, turning in third gear corner, about 80 k's. And then positioning the car in roughly the centre to left of the track, but this corner just keeps going and going. It's one of these ones that you think it's just a right-hand corner, but you can see from the map of the left it's more like a hairpin bend, and there's quite a few like that. So around the reverse hayshed coming up, and the next corner here is one of these ones that just keeps going, and I've eventually worked out stay out wide, then cut in. The tendency is to turn in far too early there, but as you can again see from the map, it's almost a 180-degree corner. Here's these flowing corners again, accelerating, and then just basically maintaining the speed here, sort of half to 2/3 throttle, and going through, and here's where it tightens up. And with the standard engine there, I don't have as much speed as some other people would have, so it's not quite as close going out to the ripple strip on that last corner. But certainly if you had a lot more speed than me, I'd be backing off for that last corner, unless you have a lot of aero and really good tyres on. Back to this corner where I stuffed it up the previous time. A bit better this time, so you can see all the witches hats around the track. The guy who runs the event, employed by the Motorsport Park, he puts those there, and it's basically a $10 charge if you hit one of the hats, and if he has to come and find you, it's $50, so you're encouraged to voluntarily go and tell him about it. But yeah, back onto the main straight, up to fourth gear, accelerating. You're coming up past the pit lanes on the left and the pit garages, getting close to fifth, up to fifth, going, nothing coming out. And you can see all the flashing lights. There's lights everywhere around the track. Coming up, 100-metre bar, brake hard, turning in at about the 80k, third gear, just building up a bit of speed, but not going flat out, because here we come to this tight corner again. And you just turn in. A lot of people don't run wide here, but I let it run wide there on accelerating out of the corner. Coming up turn 4, then up to the reverse hayshed again, and this one I just, on a dry track, good grip, you just keep accelerating through it. You can see I'm up to over 160 here, and back to about a 70k corner entry speed. Now, that's turn 6 I think, so we're going through turn 7 now. Up to 4th, short shifting, 8. Then let it drift out to the ripple strip there, gives you a good entry to 9, 10, 11, whatever they are here. And then up here, knock off speed here. Knock off speed. Or here, knock it down. Then go around here. GT circuit comes back on, where we're going back up the back straight. And you can see here we build up speed, and takes a while to build up the courage here to just back off a bit, throw it back a gear, and go through it. It's being unsighted. It's very intimidating. as are a lot of the corners here. So here, this is a double left-hand corner, and the tendency is there to not run out wide, and so you make your entry to the second of the two corners much tighter, which stuffs your exit speed. So back down here to the tight right-hander, accelerating up through the gears, back to the corner on the main straight, up to 4th gear, and accelerating down the main straight again. But you can see there's a few grandstands, but not much. You know, the facilities for spectators are probably the next thing they need to add, but the track itself is an amazing track. 2 days prior to this, I did the GT circuit, which is 7.7 k's long, 35 corners, and it's basically the second longest permanent track facility in the world behind the Nürburgring, and it's quite amazing. And I'll do a voiceover from a video footage of that track as well. So through the reverse hay shed up to about the 140, braking back to and here just a bit too fast, not wanting to hit one of the hats, so I went through those, back on. You know, the good thing about this track is there's plenty of runoff space. So you know, at the end of the main straight there's a large tarmac runoff space, and you saw there that corner was because the West Circuit goes straight ahead. There was plenty of tarmac there to run off. And during the 3 days I was here, there was lots of cars that went off, but I didn't hear of anyone who actually hit a wall. So that it's very forgiving as far as that goes. That, you know, obviously if you try hard you could probably hit a wall, but for those who just, you know, misjudge the exit and get onto the grass, you can then just slow down a bit and come back onto the track and proceed as normal. You see here there's a lot of runoff space there. Here, going through here, accelerating hard now because it just opens up, but you can't see where the track's going at that point, so you can see it's going down, back to this corner, turning in again, and heading towards the track on the corner onto the main straight of the track. Out of this corner, running wide, up to 4th. You can see the lights there, the green lights overhead. Then up here you can see flashing greens at the left-hand side there, just at pit exit. Another flashing green light on the left, braking hard. And you see the runoff space straight ahead there, that's all tarmac, so you've got plenty of grip there. It's not as if you go into grass. Here, see the tarmac on the right-hand side there, left-hand side, it's plenty there in case you misjudge it. None here, but by that time you should be still on track. That road just the side here is just access roads, but they can get a bit confusing when you come around and see there's a place, do I turn there, but you ignore those once you get to the track. Turning here at trying to follow that line, braking as late as possible, turning in now, accelerating up the hill to turn 7 I think it is, changing to 4th, turn 8, letting it run wide, through turn 9, letting it run out to the ripple strip, turn 10 where it tightens up. You can see there it just gets a bit twitchy at the back, braking hard here, knocking off a lot of speed, then turning onto the main, this back straight where the GT circuit comes back on, accelerating up, you know, pushing 160, easing off just to settle the car. Yeah, up to this point, going back through this corner, and yeah, get the gist of all this. This one, that's where I spun earlier, needs a lot of respect, but if you get it right on the exit, you can get so much more speed down this straight, which is downhill, then braking hard at about 75 metre mark is what I use, turning in, accelerating hard up to the turn onto the main straight. We let it run wide, hopefully not hitting any of the witches' hats, and back around again, seeing the green lights straight ahead, or overhead I mean, coming down to the pit exit, no cars coming on, so I can stay on the left hand side of the track, going down, still green light on the left there, braking hard, back to third gear, back getting a bit twitchy. It's been a long couple of days and the rear wheels, the rear tyres were suffering a bit, turning back in here, accelerating hard, letting it run wide, up to this corner where you see the roads coming in and you just have to commit and keep going. Reverse hayshed, you're accelerating hard now, coming up to the braking mark about 60-75 metres thereabouts, turning in at the line there, coming over to clip a late apex, clipping the ripple strip, let it run wide, and accelerating for these flowing 3 or 4 corners. So you see here just little twitches of the steering wheel. So it's not as if you're doing several corners and then straightening and going through the corner again. You're just on a constant lean. Catching up to the BMW here, which was fast in a straight line, but pretty pedestrian through some of the corners. I think quite an inexperienced driver earlier in the day, he came up beside me just before those 4 corners, and I stayed on the right hand side and he didn't want to go past me, so yeah. So you see the lights are still here as you exit. You see a light on the left hand side there, and no, it wasn't used. Now down here there's a light there. I think it's still green, a bit hard to tell from this video. I'm still in full help mode, but that I believe is green. That's yellow. Now it's gone to yellow and braking. And we're about to exit. So the exit to pit lane is just after this rise. So it's very blind, and you come in here. And so that's my few laps commentary of the Bend International Circuit. I hope you enjoyed it, and look out for my commentary of the Grand Prix circuit as well. You can see here we're going down the pit lane. The pit garages are great, large, well appointed, automatic doors. Just press a button. So you can see here there's 2. They're in groups of 2. So yeah. Okay, all the best. Bye for now.